to how the morning sunlight fared on that specific destined day. In its extraordinary way, the angle of the solar rays has never since in all my days managed to reproduce that gold that my memory still holds. That particular daylight stays illuminating all my days with its persistent glowing sheen on everything I've seen. Perhaps it wasn't just the sun, but everything combined as one that made the atmosphere so bright and filled with such intense light. That particular daylight stays illuminating all my days with its persistent glowing sheen on everything I've seen. Now every morning I compare the new light to that light so rare, and find the present can't compete with that illumination sweet. The final period on the page turns another life stage into history and recollection and person and respection. The words that close this current book have such a definitive look, yet somehow also seem to start a new tale in the heart. The final chapter's last sentence brings a curious resonance of something finished and begun under the same moon and sun. We think conclusions mean the end, but on this point I can't depend. For every finished story makes new pathways and new lakes. The final chapter's last sentence brings a curious resonance of something finished and begun under the same moon and sun. The book may close the cover shut, but in the soul the doors stay cut, open to what comes to be for all eternity. The afternoon light through the glass holds moments that have come to pass. Each sunbeam is a golden thread was done and what was said. It falls on surfaces and floors and opens up invisible doors to days that seemed they'd never end, and messages we'd always send, where sunlight carries memories on its bright and golden seas, illuminating what we've known and how we've individually grown. The angle changes with the hours, revealing time's mysterious powers to both preserve and transform what we remember as the norm. Where sunlight carries memories on its bright and golden seas, illuminating what we've known and how we've individually grown. When evening comes and light grows dim, these memories don't become grim. They wait for morning's bright return, for lessons we have yet to learn. That certain corner by the stair still holds you standing there. The sunlight through the window pane remembers joy and remembers pain. The kitchen table's wooden top preserves the conversation's crop. The marks and scratches tell the tales of all our hopes and all our fails. Where yesterday resides in rooms among the artifacts and blooms, the past persists in subtle ways through all our present days. We move through spaces filled with more than what the eyes see at the door. Each object holds a history of what we used to be. Where yesterday resides in rooms among the artifacts and blooms, the past persists in subtle ways through all our present days. The house contains what we can't see but feel and know, and still believe that nothing's ever truly gone, just waiting for the dawn. melodies assume their final forms in velvet air, beyond the realm of human care. The notes that never found their voice, the songs that never were a choice, for composers who moved on before their morning light had dawned, where melodies go to rest, having never passed the test of being played for waiting years. Across the intervening years, they hover in that in-between, the realized and unseen, a symphony of might-have-beens behind reality's thick screens, where melodies go to rest, having never passed the test of being played for waiting years. Across the intervening years, they wait for some celestial hand to help them understand why they were born but never heard, according to some strange absurd. The sunrise paints the window pane with colors of remembered pain and hopes that never came to be, staring back at me. The coffee taste of yesterday in its particular way, bitter with what's not here now, and questions of why and how. Mornings made of missing you arrive with dawn's persistent hue. Each sunrise brings you to my mind, leaving yesterday behind. I set the table just for one, watching the newly risen sun, wondering if somewhere you see this same dawn differently. Mornings made of missing you arrive with dawn's persistent hue. Each sunrise brings you to my mind, leaving yesterday behind. The day moves on, the light will change, but this feeling's not so strange, for mornings always will contain this sweet and persistent pain. assume their doom on playing notes in velvet air beyond the realm of human care. The songs that never found their voice, the music that was not a choice for composers who moved on before their inspiration dawned. Where forgotten melodies sleep in promises they couldn't keep, of being heard by waiting ears across the intervening years. They hover in that in-between, the realized and unseen, a symphony of might have beens behind reality's thick screens. Where forgotten melodies sleep in promises they couldn't keep, of being heard by waiting ears across the intervening years. They wait for some celestial hand to help them understand why they were born but never born into the world of night and morn. Water carves your surface smooth, secrets you will never lose. Seasons passed and left their trace on your enduring stony face. What the stones have seen and known in the riverbed alone, stories written without sound on this hallowed ancient ground. Storms have shaped your curves and lines, nature's art and deep designs, holding time within your core of all that came and went before. What the stones have seen and known, what the stones have seen and known in the riverbed alone, in the riverbed alone, stories written a deeper jade. Summer's brightest colors fade. The forest wears a richer dress of nature's artful consciousness. Forest deep in a hues unfold. Stories that the woodlands hold. Each leaf becomes a painted page in nature's timeless heritage. The maple starts to show its fire as days grow shorter, nights climb higher. The oak maintains its steadfast green, part of this colorful scene. Forest deep in hues unfold. Stories that the woodlands hold. Each leaf becomes a painted page in nature's timeless heritage. Colors blend without an end on branches that will soon descend. The hues remain in sun and rain. Stones made smooth by water's hand across the years and shifting sand. The current moves and never stays through all the nights and all the days. What the river carried away to the ocean's wide array. All the moments, all the years, all the happiness and leaves that fell from autumn trees drift on water-bound destinies. The river knows where they must go in its continuous flow. What the river carried away to the ocean's wide array. All the moments, all the years, all the happiness and tears to the sea. Eternally the garden of the mind's welfare, with possibilities and dreams and complicated woven themes, ideas that seem so small by day now find their power and their sway, expanding in the fertile dark, leaving their definite mark. Nocturnal blooming thoughts arise beneath the star-illumined skies, revealing what we truly feel, making the abstract somehow real. There's something about the moon's soft glow that helps the hidden feelings grow into their full and proper size, right before our very eyes. Nocturnal blooming thoughts arise beneath the star-illumined skies, revealing what we truly feel, making the abstract somehow real. When morning comes and cuts the stem of what was blooming in them, but the seed remains to grow when moon again puts on its show. The constellations rearrange their patterns in their starry range, while we exist in different places with different thoughts and different faces. Yet when I see the evenings first, I'm conscious of a similar thirst for understanding what occurs beyond life's strange and spinning spurs. Beneath a different sky tonight, the same moon shares its silver light on both our separate situations and similar contemplation. Distance can't erase what was or change the fundamental laws of how connected we remain, despite the distance and the pain. Beneath a different sky tonight, the same moon shares its silver light on both our separate situations and similar contemplations. The sky may vary where we are, but we're beneath the same particular cosmic and celestial dome that we can both call home. melody inside my mind has always been the complicated kind, too fragile for the open air, too honest and too rare. It has a bridge I can't quite play, and chords that somehow go astray. The lyrics hover near my heart, but never quite make start. The song I never sang aloud makes me both humble and yet proud. That feelings can be so profound in their unexpressed, unwritten sound. Perhaps some songs are meant to stay within the heart and not to play for audiences to ever hear, but just for us to hold so dear. The song I never sang aloud makes me both humble and yet proud. That feelings can be so profound in their unexpressed, unwritten sound. This silent symphony remains running through my mental veins, a masterpiece that none will know except the one who let it grow. My lips form shapes that make no sound. Your name travels the lost and found of memories, persistent hall, answering some silent call. The syllables dance in empty air, filling spaces everywhere, but never reaching where they should, though I'd speak them if I could. Calling your name in the silence, across the emotional distance. Words that my heart still repeats in these melancholy beats. Perhaps someday the sound will reach what it's been trying to teach. The names have power to convey what we're unable to say. Calling your name in the silence, across the emotional distance. Words that my heart still repeats in these melancholy beats. The echo fades but doesn't die beneath the vast and starry sky. Your name remains within my chest, putting this feeling to rest. Such a meaningful, deep look. It holds the place where we once paused before life suddenly caused the interruption of our reading, the temporary needed seeding of narrative to daily living while taking and while giving. The bookmark left in pages deep, promises that we will keep, returning to the story's thread with all the words left unsaid. It represents what we put down to deal with life in all its renown, but also signifies our intent to continue where we went. The bookmark left in pages deep, promises that we will keep, returning to the story's thread with all the words left unsaid. Someday we'll take that marker out about, continuing the tale we paused for all the living that it caused. As day begins its daily song, they stretch across the wooden floor, then shorten as the hours score. At noon they huddle at our feet, defeated by the sun's great start to stretch again as afternoon begins to wane. How shadows measure out our days in their mysterious changing ways. They mark the time without a sound. Surface they have found. They need no clock or chime to tell the hours that they know so well. Their ancient understanding deep of promises the day will keep. Shadows measure out our days in their mysterious disappear until the sun again comes near. Their measurement of light's decline becomes a pattern so divine. So much to take in, so much to feel and see. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. The ocean takes my blues away, and the tide is calling my name. I'm floating away, floating The color of longing fills the air, a shade made out of hope and care. Not blue nor purple, black nor white, but something that defines the night. Between all that is and might have been, a bridge across what can't be crossed, where something precious isn't lost. The color of longing fills the air, a shade made out of hope and care. Not blue nor purple, black nor white, but something that defines the night. The color stays as daylight goes, and in the heart its presence grows. A stone dropped in the water's face finds its own enduring place. Circles moving outward still across the lake and up the hill. The voice that lingers within me, the voice that lingers within me, like circles on the water's sea, expanding in their constant sweep through waking hours and hours of sleep. Though years may pass and seasons turn, the ripples continue their sojourn, moving through my memory in their endless journey. The voice that lingers within me, like circles on the water's sea, expanding in their constant sweep through waking hours and hours of sleep. The circles grow and never cease, bringing my heart a certain peace. The voice remains through sun and rains. Morning coffee on my tongue from beans that have not yet been sprung. The bitterness of what's not known, the sweetness that might yet be shown. The steam that rises from the cup fills all the moments looking up. of might be ours contain such unexpected powers. Flavor stays through all the coming days. This taste of time's mysterious ways. Are played, no voices heard, just being without any word. The mountains and the valleys deep, their sacred silent vigil keep. The symphony of stillness plays in these unmeasured deep-filled days, each element in its right place with unhurried, perfect grace. The trees stand tall in harmony with all that is and meant to be. The stones their ancient rhythms hold, stories that never have been told. The symphony of stillness plays in these unmeasured deep-filled days, each element in its right place with unhurried, perfect grace. The music never had to start. It lives in nature's beating heart. The evening sun cuts through the blind, creating shapes of every kind. Upon the wall they start to sway in their mysterious ballet. They stretch and curl and intertwine, creating some mysterious design. They represent what stays concealed until the special lights reveal where shadows dance alone at last, revealing what in light has passed. The hidden self begins to speak in movements tender, strong and meek. In daylight we wear our disguise, but shadows show what truth implies. They don't pretend or compromise, just dance before the but shadows find a way to return another day. Meant for one and all, in golden strokes and amber hue, it writes what's felt instead of true. The shadows stretch then disappear as morning makes its purpose clear. Secret phrase in these first hours of new days. The language of morning light speaks to souls throughout the night, telling stories without sound. Surface it has found. It touches objects left behind, revealing what we keep in mind. The ordinary things we own become with light profoundly known. Souls throughout the night, telling stories without sound. On every surface it has found. The message fades as sun climbs higher, leaving its celestial receptive space. Morning light has left its trace. Mysterious transformation calls. It turns from looking out to in as night's deep hours begin. The glass becomes a silver sheet. As stars begin to multiply, how windows hold the perceive, what we receive and what we leave. The window knows both dark and light and how they interact at night. How windows hold the night inside with nothing left for them to hide. They show us what we can't quite see and who we've come to be. When morning comes, they'll change again, becoming transparent, free from strain. Before these hours dark and deep, the night secrets window